today we're taking a look at Chevy's new infotainment system. We're inside a 2013 Chevy Traverse looking at Chevy MyLink. Now this name is a little bit confusing because the same MyLink name is being used on the system in the Spark and the Sonic, as well as the system that's now introduced in the Traverse, the Equinox, and the Malibu. And they share the same name, but they're not the same system. So we're going to look at both in this video. First, we're going to take a look at the system in the Chevy Traverse. So you can see we have these touch-sensitive buttons on the either side of the screen here. Down here we have touch buttons for the trip computer as well as the hazard light set up in this particular Traverse. Now if we hit the home button, you can see we have our source inputs here. This particular model is not equipped with the navigation software, unfortunately. We'll take a look at a model with the navigation software here in a short while. But you can see we have direct access to AM, FM, XM, we have our Pandora, we have Stitcher, and we have our iPod and Bluetooth interfaces as well. Now, what's nice about this particular system is we finally have voice commands of tracks, just like we had in Microsoft Sync that Ford uses, as well as Toyota's Entune and the latest Honda products. So that makes this system very competitive. The screen changes are extremely quick, and if you're familiar at all with the latest Buick systems, then this system should look fairly familiar as far as format goes. Again, we'll take a look at the navigation system in a short while, but the voice commands are very intuitive and they have a very nice sound to them. I'll push the voice button here so you can hear it.
Say a command or say help.
Play song Nostalgia.
Play song Nostalgia. Is that correct?
Yes.
Playing Nostalgia.
And now you can hear that the track begins to play. The voice commands seem very natural rather than Ford Sync, which uses sort of a robot-y voice to do all the system commands. This uses a pre-programmed voice for those voice commands and only uses the computerized voice for playbacks of your list items from your iDevice. So as you can see, we are now inside a Chevy Malibu, and this particular system has the navigation software. We just press this button, and of course you can see we have the navigation software. This particular vehicle also has XM satellite radio with XM satellite traffic as well. Now, all these systems share a common software package, but you can see that the buttons and interface is different and varies from vehicle to vehicle. So this particular car has a quick access button for the clock, quick access button for configuration, tone, information, and of course a tone and menu dial knob here. We also have a quick access button for entering destination, repeating your last instruction on the navigation. We have direct access to our sources and of course a scroll list down here on the bottom. All these systems do support various app integrations with your smartphone. We have Pandora, Stitcher, we have weather app that pulls from XM satellite radio. There will be more apps, we're told, as time goes on, but right now the basic apps are Pandora and Stitcher in this particular generation of radio. Now, these apps, unlike some of the systems like BMW or Mini's systems, the Chevy system does not require an overriding smartphone app. So, and by that I mean that in order to use some of these features in the BMW or Mini, you have to have the app downloaded, so like Pandora or Facebook or something like that. And then you also have to purchase and download the overriding Mini or BMW app in order to integrate it with the system. Toyota does something very similar with Entune, where you have to have the Entune app on your phone. This system does not require that. You just have Pandora on the phone or Stitcher on your phone, iPhone or Android phone, and it just works with the system. One interesting feature in this 2013 Malibu that we're inside, and none of the other products that have MyLink seem to do this, but in this Malibu, the faceplate of the radio lifts up and there's a little storage cubby behind it, which is kind of interesting. Now we're going to hop into a Chevy Spark and take a look at that system. We're now inside the all-new 2013 Chevy Spark to take a look at its smartphone integration. So you can see we have a smartphone here. This happens to be an Apple iPhone 4S, and we have a fairly similar screen in the dash. This is more basic than the other systems, but there are some definite benefits. The first off is we have a much simpler interface, honestly, here. We has the audio interface here. If you hit the audio button, right now we're on FM radio, change source to the iPod, or your auxiliary input, or your radio station there. This system does not have any voice commands available for your iDevice or USB device, but if you have an iPhone that has Siri or an Android phone that has some sort of voice command system on it, the system does do pass-through voice commands. So if you use the voice command button on the steering wheel, it will pass that command along to Siri. Going back to the home screen, we have access to our pictures and movies. We also have our usual Bluetooth telephone interface, and we have this interesting option here, which is smartphone link, and that's what makes this system different than the more expensive system, honestly, that's in the Malibu, Traverse, and Equinox, is this Bring Go app, and that is a navigation app. So we have Bring Go available on our iPhone. It was purchased supposedly for $50, and that's all you have to do. This system is, of course, standard with the ability to use Bring Go, but that Bring Go app you purchase in the App Store for $50, either on the Android App Store or the Apple App Store. And as you can see, now we get in a new menu for navigation. We get traffic maps here, just like you would on a normal map screen. If we close that, we have 3D views with buildings in the background. Those buildings are not real topographical building information like they would be in something like the Cadillac Q system or BMW's iDrive. Those are just sort of fictitious, off in the distance looks there. We get a 2D, a 3D map, and strangely enough, we also have the ability, when you unplug this, to have Bring Go maps on your iDevice or your Android phone as well. So you can hear it's talking to me. So you don't actually need your car for that final mile of navigation. So this is kind of an interesting feature. I find that really quite handy. If you're navigating in a big city and you're trying to find the location, but you have to park somewhere quite a ways away, then you can do that last mile navigation right on the phone itself. This system, unlike some of the more recent systems like Toyota's latest Entune system, there are a few more direct access buttons. These are still complete touch buttons for volume, the home button, and the power button, but they are direct access right here on the screen, so you don't have to dive into some menu to adjust your volume and your home button. As you can see, this system is very responsive in terms of screen refresh, etc., and that is quite nice and a little bit unusual in this segment where something like Ford MyTouch is sluggish. That's been our quick take at the new Chevy MyLink system. Be sure to check out thetruthaboutcars.com for the full review of the 2013 Chevy products, as well as news, reviews, and more.